I'm Michele McGrath. I'm Chief Client Officer at Accenture UK and Ireland, and I'm delighted to have Ellie Norman with us today, an inspirational and exceptional leader, the former Marketing Director of F1. Welcome, Ellie.
Michele, it's great to be with you today. Thank you.
I mean, you've clearly got over a decade's worth of very, very amazing experience in marketing. Honda, Virgin, and F1, and also as a non-exec at the Marketing Society. So I can imagine you've got a great view of the different challenges of these different segments of people, and I'm sure you've seen it yourself.
When you consider sort of at a macro level what's happened over the last couple of years, it's quite easy to sort of be able to kind of resonate, because actually it is in constant change. Organizations are living organisms, and with that comes different pressures and changes. That shift will quite often filter its way down through sort of an organization, and I think it's quite pertinent to really sort of step back and to take stock of what's happening, to ask a series of kind of questions to really sort of help to understand where your sort of business is at.
And what's your advice to people who are in that sort of survivor mode?
I always think one of the easiest things to do is to sort of retract and to maybe go into yourself. But generally you will have a support network. Through the sort of last 20, 25 years of working, I've definitely got a support network that I've kind of collected on my journey to date. They're people who will give great advice, genuinely care about you and want the best for you. And it's also, for me, it's really been sort of making sure you have those connections. And when things feel overwhelming, it's also just talking through what the priorities are, what the focus is, what's actually going to make a difference to your organization, and what can wait. And
one of the things that we've seen with Thrivers is actually how they have been connecting with their customers. The way you've been talking there as a senior leader, how have you been really connecting with your customers and making sure that you're giving them that great experience?
I've been so sort of fortunate at my time in Formula One. The business and the sport got going again relatively quickly. So yes, there were a number of different measures that were put in place to ensure the sort of safe racing, which removed some of the face-to-face elements that you would typically have with fans. But sort of prior to that, really sort of knowing who your customer is. And for me, when I was in sort of Formula One, that would be a case of taking myself out into a fan zone and just to watch people and to observe what people are doing, to see where they're spending time, to understand where there might be a little kind of pinch point where an experience might not be great, or there's a long queue here, or even just kind of going up and sort of seeing what things are like from a grandstand. And there's nothing more powerful than a vox pop. Just to be able to take your fan or your customer's voice into a boardroom is so, so powerful. But we aren't the fan, we aren't the customer. And so being able to bring that authentic voice in, just to kind of land a pertinent point, is really, really powerful.
And that's one of the things we've seen, the difference between the thrivers and the survivors is that customer closeness. And I think you've got some great examples there. And just finally, Ellie, just thinking about into the future, what are some of the key learnings in relation to these sort of segments that you'll take forward as you explore your future?
I mean, it's very, very sort of relevant for me now as I think about what comes next. And spending that time to really sort of reflect when you're at your best, and we talk about it, but really sort of actually unpicking and distilling what that is for you or for me is an important place to start. When you think about the future, it's coming back to what lifts you up and what gives you energy versus kind of what's your mood hoover, and you want to stay well clear of that. And I hope that by focusing on those core sort of values, actually it opens up so much possibility that you're not defined by sector.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it, with so much disruption going on. Actually, cross-sector learnings are so important as well. So, Ellie, a massive thank you for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure having you.
Michele, thank you.